Okay, 10 minutes to goers. This is a quick run through a game that I played early today, and it was interesting. I mean, I want to do this review because of it involved once again a big co-fight, and often beginners double-digit queues, 15 to 20 Q and over, they kind of get co-fights but don't quite get why they're so important and why they're such an amazing part of the game. And this particular game had a very interesting, or two or three interesting co-fights in it, so I thought I'd go through it. So let's just run through the game quite quickly. Let's look at the opening. So I'm black in this game. I'm playing white. It's two 7Q games with a Comey of 6.5. So upper right corner, upper left corner, lower right 3-4, and a direct approach by my opponent. So white's quite feisty here. Normally we would expect white to take the fourth corner, but white wants to clearly fight here, so I just back off gently. This is a very normal move. All of you will be used to seeing this kind of move. This is a knight move approach to the 4-4 stone to Q16, and you do a knight move defense to give your stones a base. So white slid to the corner. I didn't want to follow the Joseki here and give white a good position on the top side, and by following the Joseki I mean play R17. White then extends to somewhere around L17. I didn't want to do that, so I just took the other corner and thought, okay, white approaches in the top right around R17, then I'm going to live with that. I'll have got a good two corners and a good position on the right hand side. So white also came down. As you can see, white's quite feisty, quite fighty. Comes down and approaches my corner, so I approach his corner. This is all reasonable. You know, although we talk about the opening of the game, the go is like corners, and then make extensions, and then approaches and extensions. Sometimes you have to improvise when faced with an opponent who, in the case of this guy here, he clearly likes fighting. He likes a complicated game, so I had to kind of try and stay with that. So he made a base, and so I slid in the corner and noticed the beautiful symmetry, the mirroring on the top side of that board. He blocked. I did extend on the outside because I think my extension, rather than crawling into the corner at C18, my extension out at J17 puts a little bit of pressure, a bit more pressure on the two stones on O17 and Q17, which I preferred. I thought he might react there. He didn't react in that position. So I made my stone stable in the top right hand corner and used the stone at R17 there to increase the pressure on the two stones, on these two stones here. And they've really got to make an extension now to the left hand side or dive into the corner, but so they make an extension. This is what I would have expected, but I'm pretty comfortable with this. I've now got stable shape in the top left, stable shape top right. Need to do something on the lower side or the right side. So this push here was to make sure that white only had one eye in this corner, because I can clamp the Q18 stone if he doesn't defend, so he does defend. So that was a sente, so I'm okay with that. And then I come elsewhere. So I make a shimari in the lower right hand side to try and develop a territory on the right hand side of the board, but the stone, the weakest point, so the weakest area for black now is the lower left stone. So if we look, we've played 19, 20 stones now, white's 20, so 10 stones each. And the board is about even, but black's weakest stone is the stone on the on D4 over in the lower right. Everyone else is pretty stable. So I didn't particularly like this move by white. I thought I'm okay with that, and actually what I'll do is put a bit more pressure. So the jump here pincers the stone on R6, make sure it stays weak. He counter clamps or counter jumps, so I come up. So I come up to put some pressure and to try and build a territory. I think I'm strong in the upper right. I think after the move at R18, the upper right side is okay. It may not be big, but it is alive, and his weakest stone is now the one on R6, so white comes out. And I want to make white heavy, so this kind of move is just to make your opponent lump up like that, so to take away the shape. You know, I talked recently in the short video that I did on why do we hate the empty triangle so much, about sabaki, about shape, about stones that have openness and flexibility. Well, when we do this kind of nudge, I knew exactly what white was going to do. White would not let me cut through those stones, and so it's making white a bit lumpy. And after that move, I then extend on the lower side here. Okay, I'm just going to go back and explain that a little bit more. I'd have liked to, actually as black, I'd have liked to have done this, but it left this move here for white. And I would have had to go there, and white would have gone here, and white would have gone there. And now white's shape is really good. You know, I've also talked about the table shape, and so that's the table shape for white. And actually what we like it if we get good shape because of our opponent's moves, and so that sequence there enables white to make good shape almost in center, because if I'd have played that first, white comes down 3, 4, 5, and now white gets a move, and white could just make an eye here like that, and then black's still got a cutting point to deal with here, and now black on the right hand side is looking a bit troubled. And that's the other reason why actually in the game, after these exchange, I did this move first, because I knew that white would connect, and now I can jump and notice that this no longer works. This is no longer such good shape for white. Still gets the table, but it ends in it's a gote now. So here we are. So white comes down here, so we'll make shape. And then I'm interested in holding my stones together on the upper side, on the right hand side. Comes up, so I make a large table shape. I'm going to talk a lot about shape in these videos because it's one of the current themes. That's how we keep reasonable shape for our stones. White comes up again. So I want to develop an attack, and so this is, now we've got white's got a line of stones here and a line of stones here. Black is strong over in the lower corner here, so these black stones are strong, these black stones are strong, and actually these are reasonably strong. So the outcome of that is that white has got two groups to look after, this group and this group to look after, but black's really only got one group to look after. The only group that black's got to look after is this one here, and as you only get one move a turn, if you're having to look after two groups, it's much more difficult. So this kind of complicated fight is quite difficult to work your way through. So that's why black came out at that point. This was really to prevent an obvious connection between the three triangled stones here and the stones here. That's what I was shooting for. So white turned, let's turn the marks off. White turned, black made a shape move again. White came out, black came out. So notice that how this fight is now developing, and I just talked about this fight, how white has got two groups and black has got one group in the fight. So white comes out to try and link the two groups together. So I come around this way to put some pressure on all three of the white groups now. So there's three white groups in this fight because the lower group is now involved in the fight. White tries to make shape here, black blocks, white comes out, black makes a shape move on the edge, white blocks, black makes it. And what I'm doing here is actually I'm just making an eye shape for the group in the middle. White connects, black makes a shape move, white comes down, black makes another move, white blocks, black, tari, jump, and out. And so my goal with all of these moves is to actually make sure that this group here had enough space in there to make two eyes and could live. So white comes out, black comes out, white blocks, black blocks, white presses, black descends. Okay, so the black top group here, this group now, has also got eyes and is alive, and this group's got eyes and alive. It's about securing this group's got eyes and alive, and still the weak stone for black is this one over here, and that's what's going on. Meanwhile, if we just have a quick look for white, yeah, that white group's alive, this one is just a string, and this one is not yet alive, and nor is that one. So actually black's got one weak stone, and white has got a couple, 3 weak groups. So white targets the weak stone, so that stone has to come out. I think when you're double approach like this and your opponent's strongs are quite strong around you, you've got to come out. And white makes a territory on the left hand side. So first I strengthen my stones in this direction, black descends, and then jump in. Sorry, white descends and then black jumps in. This is to break up that side, because in terms of points, black's got 10 on the top right, 5 in the top centre, 20 in the lower right, 5 on the right. I don't want white to have that big territory running from the corner all the way down to line 6. That's about a 30-point territory there. So white comes out with this group, I jump, try and connect the two groups and weaken the 2 stones below, try and keep these 2 stones weak, like that. White pushes again. I don't mind white pushing in here, and I connect. Come down, white comes down, so black now hopefully is alive in that corner, and then white starts to make some shape, and black comes out. Coming out because black now in this sense has got a direction here to go to, these 2 stones. It's got a direction over there to go to. It's got a difficult direction here to go to, and it's pretty much blocked off on this direction. I think white's too strong, but these black stones have come out because they've got some friendly stones nearby that they can go to, and that's a really important principle. When you're coming out, when you're deep in enemy territory, that when you come out you've got somewhere to go to, you've got somewhere to aim for. So white played exactly the same move that you saw me play when I played this move, which is actually making me heavy, but I resist that. I resist the obvious one because I want to try and give my stone some shape. So white comes up, so I jump again, and I'm prepared to sacrifice one or more of these stones in order to get out, because of the diagram that I've just shown, where my stones are either aiming to come out here or possibly here. So white panics a little bit, goes in the corner, black makes this play, which means that black has now got 2 eyes there. So the black group on the top side is perfectly safe. The D18, D17 group, let's be explicit here, and this group has got eyes. White comes out. Black sees this opportunity to connect both of these groups, but also build a wall facing, giving more support to these stones here. So that hardening happens there. White backs off, black wedges in, and the wedge is a lovely move here because it's threatening to cut at L18 and kill the 3 stones on the top side, so that the cut at L18 is an Atari and a kill for the stones at J19, K19, K18. So white defends that, and then black makes a double tiger mouth. So this is a good result for black because all of black's stones on the upper side are connected. The problem for black with those stones is they're facing out towards the centre and they don't have any territory. Meanwhile, white has got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 in that corner, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 10, 20 stones. So the 2 white groups on the top side have got about 20 points, and actually the black stones on the top side have currently got no points. So white starts to envelop the 4 stones on the left side, the little group of 4 there. So they jump out, trying to reach. So white has effectively blocked off one of my escape routes, and white turns to block them. So I turn here and I'm trying to make some eye shape here, aiming for some table shapes, some shapes that can keep my group alive. Black turns, black pushes this way, white, and then another shape move, just trying to edge my way out. I'm still trying to get out in possibly this direction now, and maybe there's a way of connecting down here, but as we had before, these escape routes are now blocked out by white stones. They've gone, so I've only got 2 routes. And I know that some of you talked about invasions and reductions. So when we invade, we get into our territory, opponent's territory, and we try and live locally. When we reduce, our aim is to get in and get out again, and get out and connect to some friendly stones. So we're not trying to live locally inside. Black is not trying to live on the left hand edge there. He simply wants to disrupt that territory and then get out again. Okay. So white blocks. So black makes a big jump. This is a horsehead jump, so that there's the relationship, the horsehead relationship is between these 3 stones here. So black's jumping out, and black's trying to force a connection either in this direction or in this direction. That's what's going on. Lots of arrows in this discussion, but that's what's going on. It's trying to help you understand exactly what I'm doing. I'm saying to white, which way do you want to go? I'm also aware at this point, this move, and this was deliberate with this move, is that now black has got 2 groups in its sights, because actually this let's take these ones off. This little white group here doesn't yet have eyes, and this little white group here has only just got eyes. It's only just in that corner. It's got 2 eyes. So actually I'd like to launch an attack, if I can, on the stones on the right hand side there. So white obviously sees and realizes that attack and moves to connect all of the stones across the board. If everything lives here, then this would be a reasonable outcome for black, because although the black stones, I've already said, the black stones on the top side here don't have territory apart from 5 points in the corner, 5 points in the corner, that's 10. If white succeeds in connecting all the way across the board through the centre, then actually there will only be 10 points for white, and so it'll be an even outcome. And then I think the game will hinge on black's territory on the right, black's lower corner, and black's lower left corner, so I think black will be ahead. So black hanes, and this is where the first of the big fights go. So black plays a forcing move here to try and make sure that all the stones are connected, and also I'm still working on this exit route here for black. White blocks, so I push once here, and the aim of this push is to see if I can get around here and cut this group of white stones. That's the goal. That's what I'm trying to do. So white plays here. I make a little pressure move here to make sure that to put some pressure on that white group below. White responds, and then I cut. So this move here is to strengthen my lower right corner, and here's the cut, so black cuts. And white jumps out, and then black makes a Kosumi and a connection here. So now we can see that indeed that white group is cut, and it's got no eyes. So the fight is on. This is, if this dies, it's game over for white. So now white is cut, and so the fight is on, and if black wins this fight, then black has won the game. So white comes that way, black blocks to keep the white stones cut. Let's take this off here. White wedges Nataris, black connects with a bamboo joint to the stones at the top. white makes a shape move, and so white has now almost got one eye, so black takes the eye away, which is in gote, because when white does that, black has to connect. So now white has got one eye, white's got one solid eye, 011, and white tries to make a second eye, and notice that black cannot harney at Q15. Black cannot harney here because white will do this, and then there's nothing black can do to stop white getting the second eye. Black cannot do that. So black has to play this move, which takes the eye out. It blinds the eye at Q13. So white pushes out, black blocks. White pushes, but then black plays here, Ataring 3 stones. White has to connect, and then black has to connect. So now white's only got one eye, but white plays here, and black makes an eye in the corner. I think the only vulnerability for black would be the white clamp and jump here, taking away black's eye space. So this is making 2 eyes in the corner. White then starts to attack the lower right corner. Black blocks. White starts a large scale attack. White realizes that the large white group on the upper right side, is gone. There's very little he can do about it. So white's now angry. White wants revenge, and white wants to come back and kill one of the black groups in compensation, so that he can balance the game again. So I connect there, and white's trying to make a living group in the edge, but I block. White plays here. Now this move is a Tetsuji, because white cannot push in here, because black plays here and white can't connect because of the kill, and that means that the white group is still isolated in the corner. So after that move, white has to connect first, and then black can descend. So now black has killed the 2 stones in the lower right corner, so the black group there is alive as well. So black's looking good in this game. Black's looking pretty connected. It's killed a large white group, and it's got territory in 3 out of 4 corners. So white does this move to disconnect the left side, the left lower side, this side for black, from this side for black. And again, we're talking about big strategies in Go. I keep saying to all of you guys in the 10 minutes to go group, the fundamental strategy of Go, above all others, is keep your opponent separated and keep your own stones connected, because in that way we create weak groups that have got to live locally. So black blocks, white cuts, and that cut, because of the Kosumi connection here, means that the right hand side black group is now separated from the group on the left hand side. The right hand group is pretty strong because it's got those 2 stones inside it, but now here comes an attack on the left hand group. So black makes this forcing move, white responds, and then black goes back. It was probably a bit belt and braces, this one. I should have actually played in the lower right corner, but I didn't. So white Ataris, black connects, and there comes the attack. So the 3-3 is the classic invasion. It's the 3-3 under the 4-4, and what white's trying to do there is make a shape inside black, because black's got no space for eyes round and about. Black can't make eyes on the lower side, black can't make eyes up here. The only space for eyes for black is in that corner. So black descends to seal this white stone in. White Han is under, black Ataris, white connects, and black makes a shape move. Then white makes a shape move, and white's trying to make a dead shape inside, and black shape is not good. It's got cutting points. So I decided to live by fighting a ko. So black plays there. White threatens to connect out and under. White's threatening to connect underneath at B5, this point here. But I decided that I can accept that if I can take the white stone here, because by taking that stone I'll make two eyes. I'll make one eye in the corner, there'll be one eye here, and I can get another eye here, a solid eye, so I can live. Living is fine. I just want to live at this point, because while this big white group on the upper right side is dead, living is just fine. But white decides to make a ko. So white wants to fight the ko, because white can look on that board and say there are lots of ko threats for me, I've got a group in trouble, I might be able to save it. So white plays the ko, black takes first. And white plays this ko threat. So here's the start of the first ko fight, and we're going to look through it. So what's the threat here? So the ko threat, and this is the area of the board that we're looking at. The ko threat there is that if I don't answer immediately, white will take the two stones on PQ16, and in doing so will connect the white group on the right side. This white group, this one here, will connect to this one here. Everything will connect and all the problems will have gone away, and white will be back in the game. So I have to answer that ko. I have to answer that ko threat, and so white takes the ko. Now this is life and death stuff for black, because if white manages to take the ko in the corner or connect out, all of the black stones in the lower left will die, and that means the game is back on. So I play this ko threat, and so the ko threat here is saying you can have some points in the corner, but I'm going to connect the rest of my stones across to the right hand side of the board. I'm going to connect the two groups together by killing the stone on K5. So white says no, you're not. I'm going to stop that because I think I can win the ko threat. I've got more ko threats than you. So white connects, and so black takes back the ko. Notice how what we're dealing with here is an absolute life and death ko for black. White doesn't need to win this ko, or it does need to win the ko, because if black wins this ko and maintains the dead group on the upper right hand side, the group we keep pointing at, this one stays dead, all of these stones here, then black will win the game. If on the other hand, if white can win the ko and kill all of these blue stones, then the game will be even again. And so this is vital for both players. This is life and death stuff. The game is at hinge here. That's why this is so exciting. So black takes the ko. So white needs a ko threat. And white plays this ko threat. Now it's not an obvious ko threat. But what this ko threat is doing is it's aiming at the linkages between two groups. There's this black group here and this black group here, and it's aiming to disconnect the two groups, because the black group on the left, the triangle group, this one here, doesn't really have eyes. It's got one eye, but it certainly hasn't got two, and if white's able to push through and disconnect, it can target that and kill that, and naturally that will then actually make a really large territory for white. White's territory then at that point on this side will be something like this. This is quite a big chunk of territory, and it's empty territory rather than filled with stone. So that's what's going on at that point there. So but I looked at it and I thought, you know, I just want the ko fight in the lower left to go away, and I'm just going to fight now. So I took the ko, I ignored the ko threat, and finished off the lower left. So black's unconditionally alive now, nothing white can do, all done. I've given up something locally on the left hand side in order for the stability in the lower left. Okay, so what does white do? So white wedges through. White just wedges in. So first black protects the cutting point, and the cutting point, protecting the cutting point, this is a double move. I would have liked as black just to be able to play here, but I couldn't allow white then to play here, because if black attires in this way, black dies, and if the three stones die, then all of the white stones on the right hand side come back to life again. This would be a disaster. This would be, white would have got everything. White would have liberated his group and killed the stones on the left hand side. That's a resigned game for black. But it meant that I had to play this super gote move, which was very painful for me, but I had to do it. Gave white 2 moves in succession. Notice that white's already had 1 move here that was the response to me taking the ko, and now it gets a 2nd move, because I had to effectively pass to play the stone at L8. So white then quite rightly takes the base away from the black stones, stop them making an eye, and black connects to make 1 eye. I want to make 1 eye somewhere on this line, 1 eye here. White comes again, black comes again. White turns, black turns, white blocks, black pushes, white blocks, black Ataris, white connects and black cuts. Something else has now happened in the game, something really quite interesting. We've got 2 groups here. We've got this black group that we've already identified is now cut out, and to my way of looking at it only has 1 eye. But equally, if this black group lives, then that white group's going to die. And if that white group dies, in addition to these stones that are already dead, the ones that we've already identified, these white stones here, then it really is game over. So that's what's happening right now in this game of Go. Okay. White starts the attack on the black group to take its eyes away. Black blocks. Here comes another move, taking the eyes away. Black blocks. White comes here, and black makes 1 eye. Black has now got an eye for his group. But white wedges in, and the wedge in ensures that that's now a false eye, and that's now a false eye, because both are cut with more than 2 stones. They're both cut with double stones. By double stones, I mean that space is cut there, and that space is cut there. So black's only got 1 eye. So black pushes in to make an Atari. White connects, and then black descends, and the black descent is aimed at threatening to cut this stone. But white Atari is here, and again black has got no choice here but to make a ko, because if white's allowed to take this stone off the board, that stone off the board, then everything, black's immediately dead. It's all over. Black's only chance is to fight a ko, another ko. And although black's short on liberties, I thought I could do some damage around this group here, this white group in the lower middle. So I make the ko, and this time white takes the ko. And so black comes up with the first ko thread, and this ko thread here is to wedge in. And if white doesn't answer, then black's next move will be playing somewhere like here, and although white will kill this group, black in turn will kill this group, will kill these white stones. It will separate this little group, and although it doesn't look like an even exchange, it's quite a close exchange. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stones, and here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's a better exchange for white, but together with the dead stones here, it keeps black ahead in the game. So that was the ko thread. So white answers the ko thread, and black takes back the ko. And then white does something, I really like this move, does something quite elegant. He sets up double ko. So now this is in Atari for ko, and this is in Atari for ko. And black connects because the only other move for black would be to Atari here, but then white takes the ko. and there's almost no move that black can make now, because the next move by white just kills everything on that side. So black connects and white takes the ko, because I've still got co-threats. I've still got a co-threat here, and this co-threat here that I've just played is aiming at that point there, and if black takes that point there, then black succeeds in killing all of the stones over on in this area of the board. That's the exchange that I'm looking for. You can have my black stones, I'll have your white stones. That's the exchange. And white doesn't want that, so white connects. And with the bamboo joint there, there's nothing else, so black takes back the ko. So black's now really dying and short on ko threats. So white connects to make sure there's no cut. Black does cut, and now this is the final stages of that ko threat. Because white takes back. And black has got to play two moves. Black would have to actually connect the ko threat here at this point, connect there, and take that stone. Black needs two moves. It's got to do two things. It's got to connect the ko and also take the white stone, and that's just not going to happen when we can only play one move ago. So white takes the ko back. And then the only ko threat that I've got left on the board and that I now play is this one first. Now this is actually a trick. I think it doesn't quite work for black, but it did work as a ko threat. What I was aiming for is that if white took the ko, if white at this point just connects the ko at this point, then black descends. And now black has got 3 liberties. But notice that white can't push in because black descends, and black's got 2 liberties and white's an Atari, so this would kill the white stones. It does work as a threat. So white couldn't ignore. White couldn't ignore. So after that one, white played that one to eliminate that ko threat, so black took back the ko threat. So that's one move. And then white took the outside, and that black could still make an eye there, just about. Black could make 2 eyes on that edge by here, white ko here, and then white kills everything else, and that may have worked, but something better happened in the game. It's not great for black. Black gets to grovel on the edge and live. We don't like that kind of move. So black took here and white took the ko. Let's just go back so we saw that far. So that was the ko threat, that was the ko. Black took back the ko, white Atari, black took, white took the ko again. And then black played this ko threat. What's this ko threatening? It's threatening the eye space of the group on the top side, and white didn't take that ko threat very seriously. So white said, enough, I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to connect there. And actually black could have played now at A12 and lived with a little group on the left hand side. By playing at A12 I mean playing there, because white can't play here. And so black makes a little living group on the edge, which might have been okay. But I think the loss of the black group in the centre would have made the game very close. So black stayed with the plan and pushed in one more time, threatening to take off the 3 group, the group at the JK 1918 group, this group here, putting this group under threat. Because if white plays here to destroy this shape, there's what's called a throw-in and a snapback. So black threatens and it snaps back like this. That's what that sequence was all about. That's what that move was about. So white connects and then black connects out. And this is similar to the kind of thing that we've shown on monkey jumps, how you can actually make this erasure of your opponent's territory. So white played here and black played here, and now white at the top side has only got one eye. This white group white actually can't play here because of this sequence. Here, 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 connect, no eyes. White dies. Everything white was in that corner. That's why that was such a brutal co-threat. So black plays there. White plays there to kill the stones on the left hand side. Takes the other eye away. Black plays here, white plays here. Then we have some final exchanges of moves, not much. Here, here, here. Done. White resigns. And white resigns because these stones are all dead and these stones are dead, and despite the fact that all of those are dead, and that in turn white has actually killed this black group and this black group, it's not enough. It's just not enough. There's not enough stones. And I think if we look at the score estimator, it's saying black by almost 50 points because of the size of this huge territory on the upper right hand side and the lower left corner and the lower right corner. White has a few points in the lower centre, but it's just not enough, that little territory on the left hand side. So that was the game. It was a really exciting game. I hope you followed the co-fights. There were some, co-fights always involve decisions about what you save and what you get. In the end, for me, I made the right kind of decisions in that sort of game. We first fought the co down here in the lower left, then we fought the co in the centre, but eventually the co-threat that he ignored was just way too powerful. And I think what happened there in the game is my opponent just underestimated the strength of that co-threat. Anyway, that's it for now. I hope that you've enjoyed that game. I hope that's been interesting, informative, all of the rest. If you like the way I teach on 10 Minutes Go, then please give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and if you want to see more from me, then please subscribe. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for that. Bye for now.